Hello, my name's He Who Is in the Water. Gonna be playing some Pauper today, and got a fun new brew that I've been working on that I'm looking forward to sharing with y'all. So, I was inspired by Max Dorshin, who's a legacy content creator, and posts on Twitter quite a bit. He's been having success in Legacy with this Teamer mid-range shell that's kind of just a hodgepodge of random broken cards that are put together in an unconventional way. Specifically, so for what's going on here, you're playing Blue-Red Delver or Splashing for Uro, which is a double greeny card, so it's like a lot of strain on the mana, but the sideboard also has a lot of really interesting components to it, just individually powerful cards, and this really struck me as like a cool deck idea of trying to build a new mid-range strategy in the format, and it was really fun just to think about how this would play out and how this all works. So I really wanted to try applying this deck building philosophy to Pauper of just jamming the broken cards and not as much of an established deck, but just playing something new that just had powerful cards and use them in maybe some different ways than we've seen before. So I was inspired by a really, really old deck that I built. So this is by no means a recommended list or whatever. So I started playing Pauper on Moto in like 2017. So this is probably like one of the first 10 decks that I built on Moto. So this is not a good deck, but I built this deck literally five and a half years ago, called Agonizingly Slow Fog. This is junk deck that was basically just playing Fogs and the Monarchy. And so this bad idea also was kind of sitting around in my mind, and I wanted to or some of the cards that started coming to me made sense in a shell like this. So that's kind of where we ended. It's not entirely that I had the idea to get the broken cards and then put them in the shell. Both of these ideas were kind of coming together at the same time, but that Delver list kind of had some like individual cards that identifies as broken to bring in. So Fury, Uro, and like Shifting Ceratops Life from the Loam, in addition to that core of like Expressive Iteration, Ledger Shredder type, Dragon's Rage Channeler, Murktide, Regent. Those are just like the broken Blue-Red Delver cards. So what are the broken cards that I'm identifying to build around in Pauper? Well, we've got Counterspell. This card's broken for the format. Like, there's no blue control deck that doesn't play 4 of this card. It's a perfectly healthy card for the format, but it is very strong and the backbone of every base blue deck. Prismatic Strands, also just a really annoying Magic card. I love playing with Prismatic Strands, but what this card does to like monocolored aggro in the format, just any deck that has a bias towards one color or the other, this card just does a tremendous amount of work against. Muldrifter, also just incredibly flexible. A lot of different ways to abuse this card with flicker effects, but also just like the 2/2 flyer matters a lot, and the drawing the cards matters a lot in this format. So you can do really powerful things with Ephemera and Glossy Flicker with this card, but it's also just fine on its own, which is some foreshadowing there, because not everything makes it in. Similar to Prismatic Strands, Moment's Peace is just a fundamentally broken card where it's just 2 time walks in one, and part of why Fogs are traditionally bad Magic cards is because you don't always get to advance your board state on that turn, and just having one card be 2 turns when you're trying to fog lock your opponent out is just a very inappropriate card advantage for how reasonably costed this card is. Palace Sentinels. This is a pretty good thing to be doing when you're fogging, but it's also a card that's kind of out of favor in the format, but still the Monarch is a inherently difficult thing to interact with for a lot of decks. And as I'm thinking about these fog cards that are just very broken at face value. This is something that becomes even more appealing. Like Palace Sentinels has been shown to be fine in just your mid-range creature decks that have some removal. But if we're already leaning a little bit more unfair, this card really gets to be more unfair. Guardian of the Guild Pact. I love playing with this card similar to Strands, but it's not okay. This is a very taxing card on how your opponent can play the game. Big ground creatures with no evasion, they're just not really something that you can do a ton of in Pauper. You really need evasion, which is true for a lot of other reasons as well, but this also just dunks on any interactive strategy that an opponent may have, where unless they have specific monocolored answers, they're just not going to be able to stop this card, and it'll just kill them slowly over time, because it is a slow card, but it is difficult to interact with. Similarly annoying to interact with is Coalition Honor Guard. So Standard Bearer has been a staple of Pauper sideboards for years, not the last couple years, but in the before time. Standard Bearer was really popular, and Coalition Honor Guard would show up from time to time. But I do think that Coalition Honor Guard is unironically kind of good right now due to the mono red deck, the mono red Blitz, having a really tough time dealing with it. It basically requires your opponent to have 2 lava darts and spend them all on it at once, and then hope that you don't have a way to stop any of those lava darts. Sure, their creatures get large in the meantime while they're casting the lava darts trying to kill a Coalition Honor Guard, but it really does disrupt them a lot and slow them down. The cards like Ancestral Anger, Temur Battle Rage, Mutagenic Growth just stops all of it. So some of the mono red lists still play Lightning Bolt, and Lightning Bolt plus Lava Dart is definitely a more efficient way to interact with Coalition Honor Guard, but when they're just on 2 Lava Darts to get it, it's not the easiest for them. And this card just plays well in other matchups. There's still a lot of Lightning Bolt decks out there. Blue-Red Fairies is sticking around, so it's still resilient to other removal out there. That makes life harder on your opponent. It can just be kind of a nice little 2-for-1. Basilisk Gate is really a recent addition of just a card that is fundamentally broken in Pauper because there is a lack of interaction for it. We're not a Pithing Needle format. You can't play those kind of mild prison effects for lands in sideboards. Land destruction is not really a good effect to deal with it because of the kind of mid-range strategies they're using Basilisk Gate, and plus it can work before your opponent has the option to blow it up if you just play it from hand and activate it immediately. So it's just a really difficult card to interact with, and it also scales really well into the late game with multiple copies and is relatively low opportunity cost to build your mana base around it. It is definitely some cost, don't get me wrong, but it's not that bad. Especially as you can tell here, where we're kind of biasing towards 3 colors already. And then the final card that I've selected as just really terrible play patterns is Capsize. I love a 1/0 Capsize. It's going to be what we're having in the deck, and it's just the games when 1 Capsize just takes over, they're awful games. They're great to play for the Capsize player, but if you've never been caps locked before, it feels pretty bad. And the format's fast enough right now that maybe this isn't the right time to be doing it, but we're playing a lot of annoying cards. This is just Toxic Tribal, and Capsize it fits the bill. So these are not by any stretch all of the cards that are problematic in Pauper, but this is just kind of where I was brainstorming. This kind of ended up being a good collective that had some possibility with each other, that I was thinking about that Abzan shell. I was like, maybe we can put some of these together as I was brainstorming ideas for the deck. Already you may be looking at here, the one noticeable exclusion that I have is Ephemerate and Ghostly Flicker as really broken cards in these colors that sort of work with some of these, and I just couldn't find a good way to get it to fit together. Ephemerate's good with Muldrifter, but It's not really good with Palace Sentinels. It's not good with Coalition Honor Guard. It's not good with Guardian of the Guild Pact. It just does not have a ton of synergy. And if you're playing creatures to load up a Basilisk Gate, Ephemerate doesn't do a whole lot for you either, because then you want to be playing more tokeny type effects. So let's look at the deck. Okay, so here's the final deck that I ended up, and so there are the cards that I talked about with Counterspell, Moment's Peace, Strands, Capsize, Honor Guard, Guardian, Palace Sentinels, and Mole Drifter. That's still kind of our core. Oh, and Basilisk Gate. That's still the core of the deck, and everything else here has just been kind of thrown in to support that, with Sacred Cat for Basilisk Gate, Shenanigans, Preordained because it's free. Abundant Growth has been really helpful on the mana, I think. Growth Spiral, I could believe that there's something else better here, but a little bit of ramp is nice. I started off playing 4 copies, and I don't think that's quite tenable. I think the mana needs a little bit more help with that, so Abundant Growth hopefully can support a few copies of this, but this might also end up being too much. Just 1 Archaeomancer to help with redundancy on our spells, as well as go have a pseudo endgame with Capsize if we ever need to get to that point. It's been a really fun deck to play. It kind of ends up being like Turbo Fog mid-range, where you get to race your opponent by fogging them on their turn and then attacking with 1 creature, pump it up with Basilisk Gate, and then over like 3 or 4 turns you can kill your opponent relatively safely. You don't have like a true infinite endgame like you can Capsize Archaeomancer, like rebuy fogs, but that's unlikely to ever work and is extremely mana intensive. So you're definitely playing like a fair game plan. And it's a pretty flexible deck so far, I found. Like, you're kind of a mishmash of Turbo Fog, Familiars, Kagate, and Boros Bully. So you just got a bunch of random cards that are powerful, and that gives you a lot of angles to play and present a lot of difficult questions to your opponent. So, in the words of a friend of the channel, Links to the Past / R&D function, it's just a cube drafter's dream. Like, it's just a great cube deck. We've got a bunch of powerful cards, and hopefully it all kind of comes together. Do also want to give a big thank you to Ironic Gentleman for helping me build the deck and talking through. We spent a good hour so just talking through card selection for this, because it's very difficult to, or it was a difficult and fun process to come from that big idea of like, I want to build mistake card tribal, to ending up with a deck list that's somewhat functional. It's been a fun challenge to work through. As you can see, like when Max Dorset first started tweeting about that in like the beginning of June, I've really enjoyed just kind of seeing the development cycle there, and that's been in my head since then, and it's now like the end of July. So it's really been in my head to like try and get something like this to work. It's been a fun kind of thought experiment. So yeah, the support cards that we've added, Spiral, Growth, and Preordained, really just help smooth things out. And Sacred Cat is a good redundant Basilisk Gate target that kind of stresses our opponent's removal a little bit. And I found that between Cat and Honor Guard, you do a pretty good job of like forcing your opponent to leave in their removal. There's also 1 Mortuary Mire that I've added here, which you can kind of go quote-unquote infinite with Capsize, of like constantly rebuying a creature, which is just kind of another valuable endgame to have. And Mortuary Mire also helps with, quote-unquote helps, it's one land of 23, but helps with the sideboard that I built, which is extremely simple. This is peak water sideboarding. I have 3 cards in my sideboard. We've got Dust to Dust for Affinity, Suffocating Fumes for Fairies and Battle Screech decks, and then we've got 7 Beb effects for Hot Dogs or Mono Red Blitz. I think I like Mono Red Blitz as a name better. I don't know why. Hot Dogs doesn't sound right to me. That's also, it's okay if you want to use that name. That's not trying to die on a hill there or anything. But yeah, there's just a lot of red decks around with the Blitz decks and just various other Swift Spear strategies where when they're lightning bolting, it's still nice to have some fog effects and strands, but you don't have a tremendous amount of interaction for other spells. So like just having these and like just being Muldrifter plus Beb effects is just a great strategy versus all of those red ones. And Sacred Cat plus Basilisk Gate is a good life gain end game to be building towards. So I don't think I need like Weather the Storms, even though that's a powerful option as well, because this is kind of doing a similar thing. So I played a little bit with this deck. It's not super competitive. I'm going to say this is not like, oh, I'm going to trophy this league easily. It's probably going to 3-2 on a good day. But what I have enjoyed about this is just the gameplay is really fun. These cards are all pretty flexible, so there's a lot of interesting decisions that you get to make. You play a lot of long, drawn-out games, and it's just a lot of fun because there's a lot of choices to make, and there's some pretty novel decision-making I found. And I hope that you will find it as enjoying as I have to build it. So let's get into the league now. Okay, round number 1 versus Chico Neto. And this hand is probably a keep. Yeah, I think having Drifter here is just good enough to salvage it. And I think I'm going to name white with Seagate. I think that's fine. Hopefully this Sacred Cat can start buying us some time. So versus red, they're probably interested in killing the Sacred Cat. If they just lob a dart at here, that's okay for us. Okay. Kiln Fiend. Punished for the name there. So now definitely just chumping if possible. But also it's like very likely dead here. I don't know if I'm chumping now. I don't have to worry about that decision anymore. This all is fine. Not that I have much choice in any of this. We don't really have a ton of untapped green in the deck, so we're probably just going to die next turn. Don't really have much to draw towards. But feel good about our sideboard for this matchup. So they are a Lightning Bolt deck. That's good to know about. Alright. So we've got 7 Beb effects that we're going to bring in. Capsize, pretty poor. Can trim on a Guardian of the Guild Pact, Archaeomancer's. Archaeomancer's fine, but I don't think we really need it. As we're trimming down the curve a little bit, I think Growth Spiral becomes less necessary. What else do we want to trim? I think Counterspell gets a bit worse too, whereas these are just more efficient interaction spells to bring in. I think I'm okay with this. Let me go down another Counterspell for Archaeomancer. I think that'll be better. Yeah, one other thing about Archaeomancer is with Basilisk Gate in the deck, I do think it's better for us than Mnemonic Wall. Just having access to that is really nice. And this hand's a nice keep. So I'm going to learn from my mistakes and just go green on the first sea gate. Yeah. Just gonna keep more preordains, more blasts. So definitely want the Drifter. Do I want the Manor Gate? I don't think so. I think we're good for now. So we name white with this one. And then if they play another creature, we blast here, and the next turn we go Drifter, hold up, blast. And if this doesn't work out, we still got a lot of time here. Just Underworld Rangehound, I think I would like to get Guardian going. Oh, right, it's forced to attack anyway. Yeah, so Guardian's a great play here. I mean, sure, they can Flaring Pain me, but Flaring Pain is okay. I think I'm just going to get back a blast here, and I'm not going to blast the Ragehound. Cool. Yeah, so the Ragehound has to attack, then we have the Hydro Blast for the next creature that they play, and then we can attack. Probably with the Archaeomancer with the Basilisk Gate, and then we're attacking for 5 a turn, 4 turn clock. Probably good enough. Neat. Do I want to do anything different? I think I'm okay. I would like to draw 3 blasts once again. I think that would be nice. I think a mulligan to 6 is just kind of free here with this many islands and blasts in my deck. Yeah. Good. We're just gonna bottom that Sacred Cat. Yeah, let's bottom Sacred Cat. No, let's not get too cheeky here. Do this now so they can't blast it. Now they're incentivized to play another creature so that we can go tap our island, kill it, play Growth Chamber. I would love another elemental blast. Thank you. How did you know? Still want to do this, just try to exchange resources as much as possible. I think I kind of want a Drifter here. 3 cards at and they've burned a Manamorphose, so I don't think their hand is that great. I would like to try to stop them this turn. Am I going to die to Mono Red again with Prismatic Strands in my hand? Maybe. Maybe. It's a distinct possibility. Impulse is a little spooky. That's a good impulse for us, I'll tell you that. That's good. Oh, this is so mean. I guess I do this in their upkeep, because if they have 2 protection spells, then I just Moment's Peace. Alright, now we slam Palace Sentinels, ride off into the night. Not the fastest clock, but it'll do. Okay. More revs are good there for them, for sure, but I'm also comfortable with that blast usage, because it's more likely for them to have a Flaring Pain in their hand at this point than it is another red elemental blast, because I think they've used 2 already, so I don't feel too bad about that. Yep, so now we're more in the fogging part of the game. get to slam Coalition Honor Guard. Can this be the nail in the coffin? Okay, it is in. I think I put this into play here. And then I just attack with my Drifter once. Still got a lot back to Flashback Strands. I've got Counterspell, I got Moment's Peace up. One Flaring Pain does put me in some trouble. Alright, but we're on the board. My 7 Hydroblast strategy has in fact defeated the mono red deck, although that was a close game. But, I cast 6 of my 7 blasts, and it was close-ish. That's the mono red deck is good, folks. See you for round 2. Round number 2 versus Pedro Torres. Don't know anything about this player. This hand has 1 color of mana and Basilisk Gate. Don't think we can keep it. This hand is closer, and we're just a long ways off from being able to defend this Palace Sentinels. Okay, so it's either blue-black or mono-blue fairies. Most likely blue-black, I think, with Seer. Alright, no Lance or bottoming. Okay. I don't think we're allowed to preordain into Sprite here. But I think if they want to Sprite my Counterspell, I'm accepting that. So they don't have any ninjas? Okay, now they do. Nope. Okay, we're just... Huh. Well, Prismatic Strands is a fine card to discard to hand size. Coalition Honor Guard's also pretty poor versus their deck, even though I'm giving up some information there. But, like, I think we have a chance to come back to this game. And I'm just going to name white here, because these Abundant Growths are not going to be relevant for still a good bit longer. So they've been really patient with those Spellstutter sprites over there. There's no way they don't have them. I refuse to believe that, but... Yeah, so now they get to ninja back spell stutter, which is bad news for anybody that enjoys playing the game. So I think I flashback this one. Go for abundant growth. And I think I just let that lie. It's pretty easy for them to interact with Sacred Cat here. Snap gets the job done, but then maybe I can Moments Piece out of it. No, I guess the Moments Piece is going to get countered anyway here, but they don't have lethal right now, so I still have like a little time. And they're not, if they're ninjing, they're not rebuying Spell Stutter Sprite, which is always the worst case scenario. So I do think this matchup's not ideal for us, hence the 4 Suffocating Fumes. That's just kind of like the typical fog experience. Let's fire this up here. So we can flashback Strands and Moments Piece, so if they have 2 counter spells, we're dead. But that's okay. A Dispel in the main deck? That's aggressive. Alright, you got it. Yeah, stumbled on lands for a little too long there, although I think that was getting close. Alright, so I hate leaving Abundant Growth in the deck, but I think we need to. Growth Spirals is a little too awkward. And Moments Piece is not the greatest versus them. Maybe I leave in 1 spiral then. Really just don't want to be fogging them. Does not work out for you. Although I don't think I'm able to like sideboard out of being a Palace Sentinels deck. So I probably need to still keep a large number of fogs in there. Okay, mulligan. Sounds okay. We just got bottom. We need the black source before we can think about keeping a second Fumes. So Fumes is the sweeper of choice. So that we have the one Mortuary Mire that makes black slightly easier. It has cycling is another upside, I think, for our slightly awkward mana. And it doesn't kill our creatures, which is something I suspected would have been an issue with a Fiery Cannonade or Breath Weapon on the splash. Like, those cards may be better versus elves, per se. Fumes is not as good versus elves, still pretty good. But yeah, this also this part doesn't work out quite as well either, where you just can't really kill this ninja, even if I had the mana. It's going to hold up our awkward counterspell here. I think we put in Coalition Honor Guard before we do the Sentinels, but I could be wrong. I will counterspell basically anything. Fairy Seer, I'm counterspelling it. Good enough. So I just put my 2/4 into play, and hopefully this provides some disruption. If they snap me, I'm going to be very sad. Very sad, but that's okay. Snap is just going to be very good versus my 4-mana creatures. Kind of the issue with any deck like this, like Familiars or whatever. It's just impossible to make those line up well. And Mono Blue's in a pretty good spot right now. Okay, no snap. No snap is kind of huge. Because I can't fathom if you have snap. There's just I don't think you can look at this board state and say that it's not good enough for it. I know they have the counter spell, but I think we still just have to put it on the stack this way. If we don't spend 2 mana, we don't really access a spell. I don't want to cycle this Fumes necessarily yet, so... Oh, it's in there. Fascinating. They had the Echoing Truth and they didn't bounce the Honor Guard? I don't understand. What? Just get to, like, draw cards. Kids love to do that. That's what I understand the youth are a big fan of. I'm blocking the ninja. We have Fumes to, like, hopefully stop this, the fairy package for a little bit. And we're going to be able to protect it with Counterspell in 2 turns. Okay, Spire Golem 2 and 3, or 1 and 2 are little annoying, that's for sure. I know it's not a great strands here, but I want to try to save some damage here. I don't think we can win this game, honestly. These Spire Golems are just going to be too tough to deal with. I'm surprised they brought them in, honestly. I wonder if I should have brought in a Dust to Dust, because they are that bad for us, but I feel like you can't do that having not seen them yet. Let's try and upkeep. Do the fumes. So we got 2 counter spells here. We lose. It's just the eternal state of mono blue. Okay. Alright, I don't entirely know what my plan is, but I'm playing Palace Sentinels, and then I'm going to Moment's Peace in their upkeep. So I guess I do know exactly what my plan is. It's just not a good plan, and it folds to, like, anything. So they do have... Yeah, I'll save the 1 point of life, I guess. Okay, you got it. So I knew, like, not doing it in the upkeep, you lose to this, but it's just you just can't beat this draw. Like, my deck is pretty weak to Dispel with cards like Prismatic Strand, so, like, this Dispel kills me next turn if it doesn't kill me right then, so it doesn't really matter, but yeah, that's good. Alright. That was a good showing by Mono Blue. 1-1. Round number 3 here versus Carves. One of the greatest of all time of the Pauper format. And this hand is great. Insofar as this deck gets good hands. Okay. Gate Mirror. Looking like a much more responsible blue-white gate deck over there. Court Hussar. Oh, baby. That's been a hot minute since I've seen a Court Hussar in play. This pass here, either Counterspell or Growth Spiral. Both are fine. Probably going to Counterspell like anything they do, though. Another Hussar will be a fine target. Hitting a land drop is great. And we're just going to drop our Guardian into play. Well, they do not have Counterspell mana. If they Battle Screech, right? Well, no, they can't. If they go like Inspector, Battle Screech, we're in trouble. Okay, third Court Hussar is not an issue, I'll say that much. I think we'll be okay there. I don't think I want to drift right into their Counterspell mana. Oh. Well, I don't really... I'm not super worried about this Preordain, but I really don't want them to have just the 1/1 flyer in play. I guess these are fine. So Guardian is really good versus some amount of Basilisk Gate because they have to choose at sorcery speed what to equip, and then you just block it with the Guardian, but flyers do become extra problematic that way. Probably for similar reasons, I think this Capsize has some potential. So if they don't do anything super annoying, or they don't do anything with their mana, I don't think I cast my Mole Drifter. But Moto's struggling. Oh, the Modern Age? Please do. I cannot stress enough how much I love it when my opponents just cast the Modern Age in my Pauper game. It's like, hey, how would you like to be ahead on cards? And it's like, I would love to be ahead on cards and resources. Counterspelling this because once the Fairy Seer is in play, Spellstutter Sprite makes my counterspell much worse. And I don't really want to play myself into that hole. I'm also going to Growth Spiral if they counter my counterspell. I don't believe that they have counterspell. I do believe it, but I'm just going to force them to. I don't think I gain much by trying to evoke here and play around it. Nice. Okay. But that does mean that they probably have Spell Stutter. And don't need to play into that for the time being with this abundant growth. Maybe I should have attacked. May have been better to attack there. Because if they just like Basilisk Gate the Squadron Hawk, my blocks aren't doing much anyway. They Spell Stutter Sprite me now. This is okay, because I'm kind of in the fog mode now. It doesn't seem likely that they're going to replay their Spell Stutter Sprites. I think I just have to bottom here. I don't think either of these do too much for me. I need Fogs and I need Basilisk Gates. There's one of them. I have... So I do kind of need to be fogging because they have the Sacred Cat. Now maybe I should have fogged an upkeep because now this is worse versus... Okay, I don't believe the Drifter matters here. So I think I'm just evoking. Alright, come on, brain. Come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 12 plus 2 is 14. Alright. Nobody saw anything? You didn't see anything. Okay. We're cool. You and me and you. Nobody saw the mistake. It was just, I wanted to get 13 exactly. Okay, that's, out of respect. That was really bad. That was really bad. I was so lucky that didn't cost me. That would have been... I mean, I think we're still fine there because then we just Moment's Peace in their upkeep. We know their hand is 3 Squadron Hawks, I believe. I think. It might not be, actually. Did I mess up? Oh, I don't know when I saw that Brainstorm. Maybe that shuffled it. Who knows? Not me, apparently. Cool. Okay, so... 4 Suffocating Fumes. I want them. Coalition Honor Guard does not look like it does much of anything versus their deck. Because this doesn't do any... Honor Guard doesn't do anything versus triggered abilities, which is Journey to Nowhere's functionality. So, yeah, I don't think we need that. I think we can trim A strands because they showed like multiple colors. Yeah, I can just trim. I don't feel like this Archaeomancer is going to do much. He says bringing in 4 suffocating fumes. I kind of like the Capsize versus Journey to Nowhere. I don't know. I feel okay about all those decisions. This is a nice hand here. I think I'm probably going to go Citadel Gate turn 1, name green, and then I leave myself the option to either Abundant Growth or Sacred Cat on turn 2. And if I draw a basic land, then I can growth into Sacred Cat. Oh, I have a stop in their upkeep, I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess it really doesn't matter which gate I play turn 1. I don't think that's actually a decision point, maybe. Except now I guess I have I cannot cast Counterspell turn 2, so if they don't do anything and they just hold up a Spellstutter Sprite, it's worse for me, and then I probably just play Tapland and Sacred Cat into it, because Sacred Cat getting sprited is not like that bad. This is a little awkward because now I can't bounce land to pick up my basic island, but I think we'll be okay, especially if they don't do anything too bad this turn. I guess. Oh yeah, this is good for us now. I still don't have Counterspell up. What am I doing? What am I doing? I still don't think I just run my Preordain into a Spellstutter Sprite. Yeah. They're a ninja deck? My goodness. I guess I'm gonna pick the Citadel Gate up. I think I'll just fire off a Moment's Peace here. If they want to spend any cards on this, that's fine. Start off with a preordain. If they sprite me, I can counterspell. And I just kind of need to... Sure. Okay, apparently Dispel is just a card you could run at no cost to yourself at any time. I missed that memo. Okay. Sure. Pretty content to jump here. No longer jumping. I guess if they don't have Counterspell, the Muldrifter is going to be better here. Right. Because now we get to set up for Guardian plus Counterspell, and hopefully that is good enough. Alright, double and triple check that I can cast my Counterspell, and I can. So if they have Counterspell plus Sprite, we just lose, but... That's kind of... Welcome to playing against blue in every Eternal format. You can beat one Counterspell, but if they have two Counterspells, you just die. I don't believe that name really matters too much. I have no idea what my opponent's putting in their deck anymore. Sure. Okay. Celestial Flare and Counterspell in the same deck. That's wild. Again? Sure. Kind of forgot about Suffocating Fumes, I won't lie. Kind of forgot. Fortunately, Abundant Growth, this one's Growth, not Abundant Harvest, makes me not punished for my mistake, but... We'll see. So I'm going to fumes, or I'm going to start with Moment's Peace in their upkeep, and if they attempt to Spellstead or Sprite it, then I can Suffocating Fumes and see where that takes me. I can't get over these Celestial Flares. I'm sorry, that one's going to stick with me for a little bit. Base 2, it's like so many basic islands of Basilisk. I don't get it. I don't know entirely what to think of Court Hussar. Like, the Vigilance is nice, but once again, with Basilisk Gate and Island in your deck, I don't know if you can actually cast that reliably. Alright, we're dead. That one did not feel particularly close. But we got blown out on mana at a lot of different angles. Strands, I'm still... I think I like that more than the capsize now that they show the Celestial Flare. Like, they still had the Journey for my Sacred Cat eons ago, but maybe I just cut that Growth Spiral for it. Spiral, honestly, is probably the weakest card in the deck, but I enjoyed playing with this art so much that I've just kind of kept it in the deck, and I think you do need a little bit of acceleration, but I could easily see that being a cut. Just didn't have a strong feeling for what else to play. Because I wanted something proactive. Move our game plan along a little bit more, and that seems like one of the few cards that does that. Oh, I'll keep this one. I think I just name green with this, and then next turn I get to go Preordain, and then I'll play the Citadel Gate on black. It's likely what's going to happen. Don't want either of these. And with our 2 tap lands, we can now cast Atraxa. Okay, Squadron Hawk is pretty good for us here. Oh, if we just draw a tap land, we're in such good shape. Or an untap land? Yes. Oh my god, yes. I'm not playing around Dispel. I want them to deploy more into the Suffocating Fumes. I fumes them, play Palace Sentinels. Go cube deck. Should have played the island probably. so they can play Court Hussar and Flashback Sacred Cat. I'm going to put a Muldrifter into play, probably. No, I'm going to put Guardian into play. I guess white. And I'm going to double block if they attack so that Celestial Flare doesn't blow me out. So Basilisk Gate gives it +4/+4, so it's 6 power. Is that worth it to start attacking? I don't quite think so. So I'm going to draw up to 8 cards in hand, discard Strands, so that way I have Counterspell Strands up. And I feel like that's going to be a pretty good spot. Prismatic Strands is a dirty magic card. So I think with that being the case, I do actually attack with Guardian. Oh yeah, definitely drawing Moment's Peace now. They may counterspell back, and that's okay. Sure. Interesting, not hitting the Palace Sentinels. So I believe I block like this, flash black on blue, eat the Sacred Cat. It's a pretty good exchange. Maybe they missed the Prismatic Strands, I'm not sure. I mean, it's a tough spot for them, I'm not trying to imply too much. Let's just go Guardian here. I'm holding up Moment's Peace and Counterspell. They can't Celestial Flare me here. This has been a great match, I think. Absolutely. Similar reasoning as before. Going to counterspell this because it gets way worse if they have seer in play. You got it. Nice. I actually wasn't sure what I was going to do there. It's kind of hard to think about which land I want to abundant growth onto. I don't know. I think just growth onto one of these gates over here and see what I draw, and then probably activate Basilisk Gate, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously in pretty good space there. Like, their mana base cost them in the first 2 turns, like just having to play mono white to be Sacred Cat into Squadron Hawk is like, we had the Suffocating Fumes into Palace Sentinels, just really punish them for that. That was cool. I mean, we got to do our thing. That was pretty cool. Highlights the tomfoolery this deck is capable of, but we're 2-1. Let's see if we can't grab ourselves a chesty. Okay. Versus Live Brazilian. I believe that's what the BR is for. Ugh. Alright, look away, class. Nobody. You don't need to see this. But also look at this Azorius Chancery. It's so pretty. And look how it's going to hold this hand together. Just hope that Prismatic Strands into Palace Sentinels, and we'll figure out something to do from there. Also, look at this Capsize that we haven't cast yet. I'm sure we'll get there eventually. See if this is Affinity or Burn. Okay, Affinity. No enforcers? No enforcers? Okay, so this is the secret mode of Prismatic Strands, which is just sliding it onto the table, saying I'm going to protect this Palace Sentinels from a Galvanic Blast. If they have 2 Galvanic Blasts, the game's over, we're probably dead. And if they don't, we got a shot. Mirror Enforcer is going to be a little troublesome, though. Okay, all of this bodes pretty well. So if they attack with both, they can steal the Monarchy. Or I guess they can hold the Monarchy for a little bit here, but... Okay. Wasn't entirely expecting that, but I think I'm going to cast my Mole Drifter now so that we can continue contesting the monarchy. And probably discard Prismatic Strands again. I'm playing a dangerous game here. But my opponent has seemed to be unable to draw the Mirror Enforcers to really punish me. Okay. I think we're just gonna go like this. Counterspell is going to be like Reasonable Disruption versus a Mirror Enforcer here. That also works for me. Wow, this is a really hard turn. So I don't think I can kill my opponent next turn. If I play this Basilisk Gate, so I don't think I want to be that aggressive. So with that in mind, I think I just attack with specifically Palace Sentinels. Steal the monarchy back. I've got 6 mana. But I do think I end up playing this Basilisk Gate and just casting my Drifter, hold up Counterspell. And I'm going to discard this Capsize. I think is unlikely to come into play here. So what I think I need to be counterspelling now is Makeshift Munitions and... oh, wait, I don't have a green source. Oh, heck. Oh, that's not good. Um, I think I still attack like so. Oh, this is a bit of a pickle. Also, yeah, I should have known not to race versus Reckoner's Bargain. I think we're still in okay shape. Everything's going to be fine. Probably. Because I block here, I retain the monarchy for 1 turn. And now I'm like back to fogging. I have prismatic strands up, not back to. I get to start my fogging. It's just second makeshift munitions that really ruins me. Now better versus second makeshift munitions. Just keep hitting in with my Mole Drifter. I think I'm going to discard Sacred Cat. I just don't have the white mana, and it's not really what this game is about at this moment. This is a really cool game. So they've got 2 more Reckoner's Bargains, so at best they can go up to 26 life. Probably. If they're just playing like the stock Grixis list, which it looks like they are. I don't think Blood Fountaining back Mirror Retriever and Frogmite, I don't think that super matters. Alright, so let's put this on blue because I am still in need of a lot. And I'm going to Basilisk Gate here. If they Galvanic Blast, I am content to 6/6 right now, so I didn't have lethal. And I also don't want to be pushing too much for lethal because they have oh no, wait. Oh goodness. Oh no. Double metallic rebuke. What do I do versus double metallic rebuke? I think I just die. Uh-oh. I guess there's also the question, have I had the ability to ever beat that? Maybe not. But I'll play this Moment's Peace from hand. I can pay for 1 rebuke. Okay, that was sick. Oh boy, that was tense. Oh, that was very tense. That was cool, though. That was a sick game. Sick game. Now, if we were just blue-green turbo fog, which just, a much easier time, or if we were, blue-white familiars, we'd have an easier time, but we're doing it the cool way. Alright, we're going to dust to dust. Look at this. We've used every card in our sideboard. That's just good deck building. just good deck building. Alright, Coalition Honor Guard's pretty bad. When it's just trading specifically with 1 Galvanic Blast. Not really where we want to be. Strands is also just going to be worse than some number of Hydroblasts, I think. In fact, I should probably just have all Hydros instead. Because they're going to have red elemental blasts, galvanic blasts, and makeshift munitions. So that's better. Or Hydroblast is better versus all of those. Don't think I want suffocating fumes. And I think I'm happy to jam like this. Basilisk is a cool... It's just really cool for this deck to like race and fog at the same time. It's just really awesome. We've got Dust to Dust. Not hitting till turn 4, but hopefully that can be disruptive at that time. I want to do Citadel Gate because if I draw Preordain, I guess. Although it's equal chance if I draw Preordain or Abundant Growth. But I want to like get both of these naming white so that I can turn 3 my Dust to Dust. Because that's a lot better than turn 4. And I think I do it this way to turn on more draws because I'm not super worried about holding a counter spell. We like the next draw. Sequencing is not easy with this deck, I'll say that. Alright, my opponent has kept a 2-lander. This is the test. They cannot counterspell me here. I'm just gonna pick up my untapped land. No need to kill this Frogmite yet. Just gonna go Guardian. Oh yeah. All right. And that is a win right there. We're 3-1. We've clinched our cash, so that's great. See you for round number 4. Okay, round number 5 versus friend of the channel, Walker. He does a lot of various pieces of Pauper content, but sometimes streams on Twitch, sometimes writes article, sometimes posts on Twitter. Great guy. This hand on the other hand is I think it's a keep. So we've got 2 Coalition Honor Guards. That's the elephant in the room here. How good this card is in the matchup, I don't really know. He likes to play a lot of elves, but also this like red-green Stompy deck I saw him on last time. I'm gonna give it a shot. We'll see what there is to see. I think I want to play Manor Gate on blue first is going to be my best shot. So this opens up Preordain or Abundant Growth. And I feel like Sacred Cat is the out that we're losing, and that's not a big deal. Okay. Don't spell stutter sprite me. Alright, you're no longer my friend. Banned in every channel. So I guess this is like the same blue-white deck that I started. I was just thinking it'd be FAMs at this point, but without seeing a gate first, I don't think there's a reason to believe. Okay, we're just I don't know. Alright, pretty unfortunate to not hit any land or to have a priority encountered there into this situation, but here we are. So Sunscape from Air definitely says FAMs. You can't play a gate deck with that. So this is just like FAM splashing spell stutter sprite. Not splashing, but just playing it. I guess the format is somewhat efficient enough that like ephemerating a spell stutter sprite is not a bad place to be. Unfortunately, as with every single deck I've played in my life, I probably don't have a good Familiars matchup. The joke is that like this deck has just been very good all the time for some people. Whenever I play the deck, I know I don't want to play it ever again, but that is just my experience. Been lucky that they haven't Drift plus ephemerated yet, and I've spoken it into existence. think I just have to keep trying to develop my mana to hope to do anything. Hitting a bounce land here would be a good start. Ask and you shall receive sometimes. Oh, maybe they're playing Step Through for that Fairy Wizard Mana War from Baldur's Gate. Fairy Seer too? Wow. Oh boy. Can't even really complain about my draw because I haven't seen the Moment's Peace yet. Although Moment's Peace, Strands, and Honor Guard are by far the most unhelpful cards in the matchup. Also, boarding is going to be awful because we just don't we just don't get any improvement. I mean, we get Fumes, which cycle. I'm probably going to do that, but I wonder if I should play my Guardian or if I should try to go Archaeomancer, Growth Spiral, keep hitting land drops. I guess the Growth Spiral line is worse because now they have Ephemerate on Spellstutter to stop that. So we're just going to have to hope that we're going to put 2 Guardians into play and 20 them. Sure. I guess that'll do it. Yeah, so they did have the Ephemerate, and they also had 2 sprites, so there's, I don't think, any line that we have there that comes out ahead. But that's the price you pay, right? This is an important part of Pauper's ecosystem, is that we're playing a controlling mid-range deck that interacts on the early turns with Prismatic Strands and Moment's Peace, and they're playing a controlling deck that doesn't interact on the early turns. And so they just have no bad cards in the matchup. I say that, but they're also kind of like enabled to do that in the same way that our board is structured, that if mono red base strategies are like all of the aggression in the metagame, then you can just present this lack of interaction game 1 and then just have 7 blue blasts post board and like actually be okay in those matchups. and then just say that other aggro decks like Boggles are going to be a hard time and just live your life. Although we might see our 1-of Capsize like actually do some work. Alright, so Suffocating Fumes comes in, Moment's Peace goes out, Prismatic Strands, I think this being 3 mana and a tap to cast both halves versus Moment's Peace being 5 mana. I think Strands will be the better card here. And I'll just resubmit. Hopefully we get like double Growth Spiral and to start capsizing the lands with some counterspell backup. That'd be kind of cool. I'm glad we got to play against Affinity last round too. The first couple matches were really about basically being a blue-white deck. But game 1 versus Affinity there was nice to like illustrate the usefulness of the green cards, and Moment's Peace doing a lot in those games. It's just nice to see. Green with this one, so we can go blue-green Growth Spiral, Citadel Gate in on black next. Oh, we're getting close. We're getting close. We've got 1 Growth Spiral into Capsize. Unfortunately, they've shown us no bounce lands to do this. But we can try. Alright, yeah, I'm going in. I guess I shouldn't play the Sacred Cat into another Spellstutter Sprite, which I presume they have because they played the first one aggressively. I probably should have led on Sacred Cat and then Suffocating Fumes in response if they did that. And maybe that's something I'll do next turn. Bonk. This is a funny spot we're in. So look at Sacred Cat showing up to work in the last game of the last match. Really have not seen a whole lot of Sacred Cat shenanigans. Still attacking. Okay. Counterspell means I'm probably just attacking here. Oh my god. So you're probably already on the page of, oh, I can't cast this counter spell. But I just got there. Alright. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, this is happening. Mana base costing me a little bit here. Just a little bit. Yep. Well, we had a good run. Never beaten familiars in my life anyway. All right, they just have it. Obviously, I should not have done that. Although I guess it actually wasn't the worst because I'm just discarding my Sacred Cat anyway, basically. Although no, discarding Strands is probably better. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I can't win this matchup. See if maybe we can weasel our way into casting a Guardian. Alright, so now we counterspell here. And we hope they have nothing. Alright, we hope they have nothing. Hope. Cheating. Opponent has cheated again. It's unfair. Alright, yeah, we can't break out of Ephemerate Counterspell. Didn't play that game the best, for sure. Maybe should have cycled Fumes at an earlier point, but I don't care. I really just don't care. Ephemerate's still legal in the format. You can't be mad when you lose to it, especially in a deck that's very much built to not abuse Ephemerate. You don't kill your opponent on turn 3, you're gonna lose to Ephemerate. That's just how the format works. So it's okay. Really happy with how the deck played out. It was a lot of fun. Played a lot of weird games of Magic. Played some Guardian of the Guild packs that were annoying. Coalition Honor Guard looked pretty bad that whole league. I don't hate it though. It's still the reasons that I think it's good, being versus mono red, or being a good card versus Boggles, good versus other interactive removal decks. to like tax removal in a similar way to Sacred Cat is like, I don't hate it. We just didn't really play the matchups for that to be relevant, and that happens sometimes. Capsize looked pretty poor. Never really had the mana to take advantage of that, but I do still have some interest in the flexibility that it brings. So I don't know if I want to cut it entirely, but imagine there could be a better way to do that. So like the cards that I think are most cuttable are the not 4-ofs, Growth Spiral, Capsize, Archaeomancer, and maybe Coalition Honor Guard, but I do really like Honor Guard being in the spirit of just punking out random games that you don't necessarily have business winning. Pretty satisfied with how it played out. We had like Sacred Cat doing work in that last game, and I think it's useful enough on the whole to like get a life buffer. But it's also a pretty weak card of like the rest of our kind of Bant control deck here. So I could see cutting that, but it's a tough deck to build right, because I think if you are trying to build it the most competitively, you're kind of looking at cutting one of the 3 colors and then going like either focusing on Basilisk Gate, focusing on Moment's Peace, or focusing on Muldrifter. And we don't do the best job at any one of those 3 being absolutely incredible in our deck. So this is kind of the nature of building a dorky mid-range pile. Sideboard worked great. It's kind of hilarious how good the sideboard was. Played against Affinity, played against Mono Red, played against some Go Wide Fairy strategies. So like I used at least 4 cards out of my sideboard in every matchup. They were good. Suffocating Fumes was pretty castable. I didn't do the best job at sequencing with it. But I think it was a fine card for it, and I definitely feel like it was nice to have Fumes over Breath Weapon or Fiery Cannonade. Arms of Hadar might be better, but if you've played against Spellstutter Sprite, then like Suffocating Fumes has more blowout potential than Arms of Hadar, but it also gets itself Spellstutter Sprited more easily, so I don't really know what the answer is there. But that's okay. Maybe we'll return to this at some point in the future, but this is just kind of a fun one-off deck to do. It's kind of throwing those ideas out there. So, curious, like the deck building mantra here of just being a bunch of mistake cards thrown together, cards with bad play patterns just jammed all together. This list is like far less cohesive, I think, than Mextortion's list, but kind of the concept, I think, is still present here, and I'm curious what y'all think of how you would build a deck like that. Maybe there were some cards in these colors that I missed. I know Ephemerate was kind of the big one. I'm happy with not including Ephemerate because I think we got some novel play patterns here as a result of not playing that card, and it felt more of a unique deck without Ephemerate rather than just playing bad familiars, which I think it would have felt like if we included that card and tried to build around it a bit more. So, but maybe there's some other Bant cards that I missed that could be slot in here. So, a lot of room for improvement. I'm sure you can do just like Mistake Tribal and other and other color combinations could be a fun thing to do as well. So maybe that's an idea we'll bring back at some point. But I hope you had as much fun as I did. This was a fun league. And thank you for watching. See you next time.